On the spot, at the spot.
The spot, SoDo.
With the big homie Nick, we at the spot.
SoDo.
We at the spot, SoDo.
Spot SoDo.
On the spot, at the spot, SoDo, Seattle.
Man, pull out your blunt, grab your drink, get your notepad. Cause it's a lot of game. And we over here on the spot, at the spot, man. You feel me, man? We got my brother from another mother, man, right back with us again, man. Family, go ahead and let these motherfuckers know who you are, man.
I'm Dwann B, Dwann Brown, and the business side of his Dwann Brown. The entertainment side, Dwann B, nigga. How y'all doing, man? Well, thank you for allowing me to come here, Brother Saint Nick.
Nah, man, we right back, man. We got of course, man, the queen with Kendra. She'll never say nothing. She was
hey,
waiting.
Everybody. Mm-hmm. I listen, but.
Yeah, man. Hey, yeah, y'all been out there telling me, man, stop cutting her off. So we gonna stop cutting her off and shit like that.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you all.
Man, go like, comment, and subscribe. Go like, comment, and subscribe, man, at the spot SoDo, man. You know, we still going, having this shit going, man. A lot of other motherfucking podcasts and shit shut down, but we still around here kicking it in, man, kicking it in. Let me get the Fiji out the way. They ain't giving us no goddamn money. And I want to thank, man, brother Dwann B, you know what I'm saying, for coming to bless us, man. If you never checked out his podcast, man, you know, man, Hotepish, man, he talked that shit. You know what I'm saying? If you don't, ish. That's why I be loving about it, man, the ish.
Because you got to keep it ignorant, too.
Man, come on, family. All mamas, man.
People be thinking just because you talk some information, you got to wear a suit and talk all proper and not. And they be thinking just because you spread information, you could be a punching bag. Like, yeah, you say something to me, I might say something about you and your mama. So people don't be ready for that. You know what I mean? Like, they think that we just supposed to wear a suit and just take anything you got to say. Nah, we get ignorant, too.
Man, so, you know, I'm going to go ahead and just jump into it and everything, man. So I know you guys been watching, you know, the first part we going to talk about and shit. Man, I know y'all been watching about this whole little RICO bullshit. You know what I mean? So, you know, these motherfuckers took a record label and brought out the RICO laws on it. So what happened to the Yakuza? What happened to the triads?
What happened to that Buffalo shooter and all the people he was talking to on Twitch right before he shot everybody?
What happened to the good old boys, the Proud Boys? None of we've missed all that. The Italian mob, the Asians, the Russians, the APs.
Kyle Rittenhouse's mama taking him down.
The you know what I mean? Even the motherfucking the punk ass Vikings up out of fucking Linwood and shit.
The Mongols.
The Mongols, man. The 3,000 boys. We surpassed all that to go find some rappers and say that they committing crimes, huh?
And here's the thing about it. They going after, it seems like these RICO laws are color-coded, you know what I mean? You know, allegedly. It seems as if they color-coded. I'm just going to talk about what it seems like, you know?
Real talk.
And because you see it with the rappers, they're going after rappers about their lyrics. But there's a genre of music that black people don't know much about. And it's two. One is called gore, and the other one is called death metal. Gore and death metal have been tied to rapes and murders since the 80s.
You forgot, what the fuck is that called? S&M's.
S&M, yeah.
S&M torture.
And gore music is basically heavy metal, but they have lyrics like, this is one song called Teen Death Rape. That's the name of a song, where a dude's talking about like raping a minor and killing her. And they have these parties, and a lot of this music has been tied into a lot of these white supremacist groups that the FBI said is the #1 threat to national security. On my show last week, I pointed out how just 2 times in the last year, the New York Times, and y'all can look this up, the New York Times did reports talking about how dangerous these groups are, and they have music attached to these groups. Like, they have death metal bands that mimic a lot of what the Proud Boys, they listen to this stuff. Yeah. And they all be on the same websites, 4chan, 8chan. They be on coming together before these mass shootings. And there are never any RICO charges. Never.
Do you see this shit, though? These motherfuckers jump out. Hey, because, I mean, I'm going to be real. I'm not a conspiracy theory. 3 or 4 of them folks were activists and shit. So, you know, I look at shit from a different way. Like, okay, boom. Same supermarket, 3 or 4 activists. Hey, you mean to tell me, man, you know what I'm saying? Hey, COINTEL and fucking mind control isn't going in the place that they find you?
Yeah, like, I'm glad you said that. Because if we go look at Dylan Roof, the shooter that shot that church up, one, he had a Rhodesian patch on his jacket. And you got to be a for real deal, like, you know, most people don't even know about Rhodesia.
Man, enlighten them.
In Rhodesia, during, Cecil Rhodes, if you hear about the Rhodes Scholarship. Well, that money comes out of blood diamonds.
Yeah.
And you had King Leopold in what's now Zimbabwe, but back then it was called Rhodesia.
Call him what it is. The motherfucker that make Hitler fucking frown.
The motherfucker that made Hitler look like a bitch.
On the real.
And he done killed tens of millions of people, of natives in Zimbabwe. So Dylan Roof had his patch on. That shooting happened on Juneteenth at the church. Denmark Vesey in 1822 planned what was going to be the biggest slave revolt in history. Denmark Vesey had 9,000 people ready to revolt in South Carolina in a slave revolt, but a snitch named George, it's George something. We don't his name ain't worth remembering. Bitch ass motherfucker.
Fuck his name.
He went to the slave master and snitched out the whole revolt. And Denmark Vesey ended up getting lynched before the revolt ever happened. Well, Dylan Roof chose that church to go do his little bullshit ass shooting. And who was the pastor of that church? A sitting senator. He only like bring that up. The fact the pastor that got killed in that church is a state senator. That's a government official.
Well, did you see how quick the federal government cut the check?
Like what, 2-3 weeks later? Something like months later? Yeah.
Days.
You're right, days.
Days. They cut the check so fast. It was like, huh?
Like, how'd that happen?
So do you guys think it's because of how the laws are targeting people, or do you think it's because people don't want to see each other doing better than each other and are telling?
It's both.
Could be both. But who's telling? Oftentimes the ones telling be the ones that got caught up on some little bullshit.
Yeah.
And they get put in the bind. And again, at the end of the day, ain't no excuse for snitching, especially if you chose to participate in something. Like if you're a civilian, you're a civilian. But if you chose to participate in something and you snitch out, then you know that y'all got y'all rules. I don't get in that game. But at the end of the day, I'm seeing it from both sides because I'm not in it. You know, on one hand, if you sign up for it, you probably shouldn't snitch. You shouldn't, according to the rules you signed up for. On the other hand, they caught you on some bullshit that you got a baby at home. 8 out of 10 is gonna probably do that. So that's why I always go back to the system, because at the end of the day, would none of y'all be in these activities if this government spent y'all taxes right and gave you the proper education when y'all was 5 years old, when y'all was 8, and then when y'all got to be 21, they got you a position that could pay you some real money, not a little bullshit ass $40,000 a year. Right. You know what I mean? If they gave you a skill that can pay you enough to take care of your everyday life, you probably wouldn't even be doing what it took to get you in that situation in the first place. So it always go back to them.
You know what's crazy you say that? I was in Maryland, right? And they were like, statistically, this is where the best blacks are supposed to be in regards to finances.
In Maryland?
Yeah. The median income is $60,000. And when I heard it, I kind of like I didn't want to offend or nothing like that, but in my mind, I'm like, 60 fucking thousand. What the fuck is he gonna do with that? How the fuck is this the best place where the fucking black folks is doing? Like,
that's almost a slap in the face.
If you think about it,
is the
numbers,
cost of living lower?
Well, of course the cost of living has to be lower, but then it's not. It's right outside D.C. You close to D.C. That is so. It was just the median income. Now a lot of the people over there are married, so I can see them putting their income together in order to live like on some New York shit. Yeah. But all bullshit to the left, 60,000.
Yeah.
Median income. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I know, and carry the 2. I know I went to math class that day and shit, man.
Money, like real money don't start. This is like $60,000 a week or every other week. So that's real money. That's where real money starts.
Come on.
Not even real money, but real money kind of starts at about 60 grand.
It's a motherfucker right now about to walk into one of these fucking weird ass designer stores and blow 60 grand. That's how much a motherfucker make a year.
Yeah.
But maybe they're referring to old money instead of because they're. But so you brought up like like that's where the black folks are that have the most money or whatever.
Median income's supposed to be doing the best.
So so it is based off the median because maybe it's not off the income, maybe it's off the money, the old money that has been passed down or.
There is a lot of old money in D.C.
There's a lot of old money in D.C. When you go to D.C., D.C. is done. Man, shouts out to One Flag, man. It's my family Juju, man. And his nonprofit out there, man. They take care of the people, man. Shouts out to Ceasefire out there. I fuck with D.C. I ain't even gonna lie. Some very intelligent brothers, man. But, D.C. going through what L.A. going through what Chicago going through what Memphis going through what Houston going through what Albuquerque going through, Portland, Seattle.
All around the world, same song.
These motherfuckers is chipping us. It's like you see another brother, you try to speak what's going on, family. You know what I'm saying? He don't want to talk.
Yeah.
Then you see the white boy with the thunderbolts going down his arm. He don't want to talk. Then you see the essay and shit like that, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He politicking.
Yeah.
Then you look at the Asian and he all, hey Holmes, hey black, I'm other. With the polys now, it's like, God damn, yeah, everybody left us, son.
Yeah, we were just talking about what's going on in L.A. right now. L.A. is going straight up damn near Nazi with the gentrification. Not only is it raising rent, you can look this article up. It was done like about a month ago in Bloomberg.com. And it talks about this one man in particular who had a vision for refacing the West Adams area. And his vision, when you read his vision, he basically, in a nutshell, was saying the area with no niggas. That's basically what he was saying. But of course he couldn't say that.
What do they call it, Adams area? It's called something.
West Adams now. Well, that's the class. The West. You're talking like Crenshaw and Adams. That area, Crenshaw.
That's beautiful. I remember the old folks. That's beautiful too. But it's
Sugar Hill.
Sugar Hill.
Because Sugar Hill was a very prosperous black part of West Adams. Marvin Gaye, that's where he died.
That's what I was going to say. Marvin Gaye house.
His house right the freeway.
Ray Charles, where his studio was at and everything.
All that. But they built that 10 freeway through Sugar Hill to take it down. So basically, they're finishing Sugar Hill off now. This is one developer in particular. What he's doing is he's coming to buy your house or buy your business. But if you say no, he's going to a judge and he's getting an injunction. And an injunction ain't got to be decided by a jury.
Exactly.
All you need is a judge to say, hey, it's a public nuisance.
Could be a commissioner.
Yeah. And so it's been over 50 black businesses and homes so far in the last couple of years that he's had served with injunctions.
Who is this asshole?
I forgot his name. I got to look his name up. But it's in Bloom. It's in Bloom. I should have looked it up before I came here, but it's in Bloomberg.
So it's like legal segregation damn near.
Yeah.
What he's trying to do.
Well, yeah. So what he's doing is he went to this one black woman, this lady, she's 81 years old. Went to her house. Her grandson, they said, your grandson's dealing drugs at this house. And this is a public nuisance. So they put like a $90,000 lien against her house. And of course, she can't pay that. So she had to sell it. And now she's living out of her car. Now this dude that knocked her house down to build an apartment building. It's the Holiday Liquor off Crenshaw and Adams.
Yeah.
You know Holiday Liquor right there.
Yeah.
That the owner of that business is he's like, the dude came to me and they basically, he wanted to buy the business. I told him no. As soon as he told him no, the dude went back and said, because of course there's some gang activity lingering in that area.
Of course, yeah.
They pinned the gang activity
to
on
the
his
liquor store.
Even though it's businesses of all races, creeds, and cultures around there, the shootings didn't happen in his liquor store.
Yeah.
They happened on the same block as his liquor store. They skipped past all of the other businesses and put it on him. And now he has his heavy ass lien against his business that he's fighting, and that's what a developer is doing right now in the West Adams district, the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Mall.
Man, now that hurt.
Last year, you heard about that. The black people had $3 million more to buy it. They took $3 million less to sell it to that Russian dude that's been gentrifying all of South Central. So we see the game going on right now.
So in a sense, you know what I mean? And it's fucked up way to put it though. Nip had to go. When you take the Crenshaw, because you know that Crenshaw, because I remember going to Crenshaw Mall. I remember going to Crenshaw Mall and it was a bad gore. Shouts out to that 60-something-year-old lady that was out there having people's. So I signed. I'm like, yeah, they're talking about knocking this down. She's like, yeah, we trying to save it. And I'm like, damn, I remember when it just was the Magic Store in there.
Look,
Macy's. Was it Macy's or a May
Macy's
Company?
and May Company and Macy's.
And just
Broadway. May Company and Broadway.
And the Magic Store.
Yeah.
That's all that was in it.
Which was built by, it was designed by, what's his name, that black man. He also designed the arts at LAX and the Beverly Hills Hotel. It's a black man that designed that.
I know, man.
My great uncle worked on that staff and helped build that area, that mall, those stores. But it's crazy you brought up, I don't remember his name. But anyway, it's crazy you brought up Nip. Because I remember when Nip bought that shopping center, it was January 2019. 2019 was the year he died, right?
Yeah.
That January, I remember reading in the paper that Nip bought the shopping center. And I know because I used to live right down the street from there. I used to always go to Woody's.
Okay,
right
yeah,
next
with
door.
barbecue.
Fat nigga, I'm getting my Woody's.
Yeah, barbecue.
Man, I be hungry.
Hey, you want to know some crazy shit? Smuggle.
Oh, yeah?
Mamas.
That's crazy. Yeah, so I was always at the Woody's or the Hungry Heroes across. I didn't go to the Marathon store a lot. You know why I didn't go to the Marathon store a lot? Because it's always police raiding that motherfucker. I just didn't want to be there when that happened. Because I used to have to pass Crenshaw and Slauson sometimes 5-6 times a day. And every few months, you would just see a whole bunch of police cars there. And then they'd be like, they would just be fucking with them. And so that's why I never went. I was like, man, it was just too much. So one, you messing up the man's business because a customer like me who probably would go, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to go. You know what I mean? Because it's always too much over here. And then you have that combined with when he bought the place. I remember I did a show on my show around the time that right when he bought it. I said, you know what? This back when my show was only on Facebook. I said, I'm scared for Nipsey when he bought it because I know how my city works. I know when my city wants to make a big move in an area, they're going, and when it comes to us, they're going to take us out. Because I remember when I was in college, I was the business banking manager for Washington Mutual.
Okay.
That was my job when I was 20. I did the business in downtown Inglewood.
Okay,
Manchester and Locust.
Yeah.
So all the businesses in Inglewood, I had somewhat of a hand on it. And I got to see how, for me to have all these black businesses, 80% black businesses here, we never approved one single loan for a black business. And I noticed that. Like, I never had one loan in 3 years approved for any of the black businesses in the neighborhood. They always got declined for some reason.
Real talk.
For some reason.
For some reason. One of my neighbors, he's owned like a bunch of Denny's and Wendy's and stuff like that. When they built that new shopping center on Century in between Prairie and Crenshaw,
UCLA.
Yeah.
Bum ass motherfuckers.
Yeah, they built that. They built that shopping center, and they were like, they had no black businesses in any of these places. He had to sue to get his Wendy's place in there, and I saw how hard he had to work. My uncle was an eye doctor, and I'm gonna come around to get to the point. My uncle was an eye doctor, had been trying to get an eyeglass business in there from like the late '80s to the mid '90s. He had to go build his practice out in Azusa, out in Pomona, because they wouldn't let because he's a black man, he couldn't open up an eye clinic. It wasn't until the riots and Operation Rebuild LA they allowed him to finally open up an eye clinic. And he died right before it opened in 1996. But they fought him to open up an eye clinic. And then so I know how LA is then right before Nipsey got killed, the dude who owns that shopping center on the Ralph's over there on Crenshaw and Slauson, I saw that they were selling that whole lot for like $29 million. I'm like, ain't no way hell no one with half a brain would sell that for $29 million, knowing it's going to be worth $300 million in about 5 years when the Olympics come, unless he's getting forced to. So I'm seeing all these moves get made around. I'm seeing what's happening all up and down Crenshaw. Another radio show that I used to do, we interviewed the brother who owned Winston Mortuary.
Okay, yeah.
And he came in and he was talking about how they shut things off to where the things that they were doing, the small things that they were doing to get those black businesses to get closed on Crenshaw. And this is all going around time Nipsey buys that Marathon store. And I'm like, you know what? This ain't safe. Because they've been trying to push him out. Now he buys it. And they just made Bakewell sell right across the street. I'm like, man, I just didn't feel right. And 2 months later, yak, it happens. And then so I get to talking, and I immediately was like, nah, this LA, I know, allegedly,
Real talk.
I know these people got something to do with it because there's just too many things going on at once. You know what I mean? You got this little dude that's always getting caught up. Why these dusty ones are always the ones that always find a way to get back out.
Come on.
You know what I mean? So and so you have all these things going on, and people's like, nah, Dwann, that's conspiracy. I dare y'all right now, go to an article it was in The Guardian. I don't remember the name, the titles and shit, but I'm giving y'all the place to go.
Info, yeah.
The Guardian, the paper, did a whole write-up, I think it was in December last year, or like last fall, talking about how the LAPD had a whole task force specifically focused on Nipsey since like 2015. They admitted that shit.
Let me tell you some crazy shit. All right. You know the gang injunction. All right. You know, gang injunction starts in 96. Targeted 3 hoods. Rolling 60s, Crenshaw Mafias, 18th Streets.
Mm-hmm.
Where's Nipsey from?
60s.
Come on, man. And them was the most hated. Them was some of the most hated gangs. They was committing a lot of the murders and crime and being. So it was like
They were watching him before he really even thought about a business.
been
plan.
watching that. It's I'm familiar with it, right? We keep it straight 100. And Dwann know what it is. We don't fuck with them. They don't fuck with us. But it's energy. I got a chance to meet him. I got a chance to meet him through my nigga, man. Shots out free, my nigga Mac 90 from Rolling 90s. And man, you know, Taboo, man, they got it from 6-0 and shit. Got to meet him in the early 2000s. And his energy.
Man, he had energy. I remember he's always been on Slauson and Overhill, selling them shit. Like me, y'all know me, I'm a funk, jazz, R&B more kind of cat. You know what I mean? I'm more likely to listen to Earth and the Fire than I am anything hip hop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he'd always be out there selling his CDs. And I'd be like, most time you roll your window up like, I ain't buy no goddamn CD. But he'd always be out there. And he had an energy about him. I'd buy a CD I didn't buy CDs from people. Because I know I'm going to listen to it. But he had such an energy about him.
He knew how to approach you. He knew how to sell it to you. And he knew how to give you your respect.
Yeah, he give you your respect. And I would buy his stuff. And then I remember a couple times I saw him. I'm like, I already got your CD. He like, no, man, I got a new one. Because in my head, I'm thinking, I'm an old school. I'm thinking when I hear Nipsey, when I first see his name, this is like the mid 2000s before he's famous.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, who this fake ass Nipsey Hussle? This ain't the Wizard of Oz. This ain't the Wiz. People don't even know who Nipsey Hussle was. One of the greatest comedians ever. He was the Tin Man in the Wiz. And so I'm like, who's this fake ass Nipsey Hussle? What the fuck is this? I'm over here like, man, I'm good. But he had such an energy. It'd be like, you know what? Then I would see him at Simply Wholesome. Yeah, my fat ass go to the health food spot every now and again. I see him at Puerto Nuevo, right there in Slauson and Overhill. I would see him sometime at Slauson Tees, before I stopped going, because the police was always fucking with us. And he had a very humble, very real energy about him. But when you're running across somebody who's secure within themselves and they're real
talk.
And that stood out with Nipsey,
I think that could have led to his demise too, because people were probably intimidated by that. How comfortable he was with himself,
Well,
that can intimidate people.
niggas hated him. I ain't gonna even lie. It was a lot of motherfuckers like,
But why?
because it's his alliance. You know what I mean? One thing, man, I'm gonna be like, it was easy for us to hate where he came from,
Right.
because they was having money riding down Crenshaw taking pop shots at us when we just playing football on the grass. So your mentality, man, you grow like you got certain people that football, or you know what I'm saying, that is born in the gangbanging, and then you got other people who get turned out because a situation happened, a punkin happened, a nigga get beat up, motherfucker get dumped on, or his homie get killed, and you like, fuck that. And like,
Which person is more dangerous, do you think?
all of them are, because they're kids. If you think about it, see, the only difference is now that it was back then, at least you had to ask your big homie for a burner. And he weighed out the situation. And if the situation felt like all right, little homie, don't come back with the same amount of bullets. But they taught like, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, don't try to at home kids with revolvers. We was taking the Calgon bottles and the Victoria, stuffing them with cotton balls so we can run up on somebody. We shaving, but they ain't showing us this. You know, the old school Compton thing where they used to cut the pennies and the nickels and shit and piss and let it sit in the back there, put it back in the shotgun thing, and then when it hit you, give you gangrene. Like the old school, you know what I mean? Boiling the bullets in garlic, and so you don't stop breathing. Like it was these were the type of, so you know they taught it even with how our attire. Hey, y'all need to be wearing them. Y'all need to be wearing them polos. Y'all need to be able to blend in. Y'all need to be in
the polos and the heel figures.
And the heel figures. Oh my mama.
The glasses and the heel figures.
Carl Kanai, Davis boots. And, yeah, man, I swear to God, man, you know, when K, we was laughing because I had some of my folk, when I used to be with the trench coat, man, motherfucker have a sawed off, or we used to call it dummy, which was a sawed off 22 Ruger with the extendo clip. And we'd have it in our pen, we'd have it in our coats, and you'd have it on the side of the thing. Like, I remember my first time, my homie, man, rest in peace, man, you know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna say by his first name, because I ain't gonna say, but you know what I'm saying? Man, my brother Harry, I went to school with him, man, he murdered by 13. But the nigga had a tech. Nigga used to have a shoestring tied with the tech, man, in his pants and shit, because we was wearing baggy pants back then. You know what I'm saying? The cross colors and shit.
I remember them texts. I remember plenty of nights waking up. Man, but I have a question, going back to what you said. When it was that kind of structure, when you had the big homie that was in control of the guns, was that before or after the RICO laws?
That's what it's after, because you got to think.
See?
That's why I say the gang injunction.
You see?
The injunction hit in 96.
That right there, what they did was they created the gang situation, because black people created gangs in L.A., out of a response to the white gangs on the other side of Alameda.
Spook hunters and shit like that.
And all those people. And I was talking about the other day on my show, the Lunada Bay boys, who they've been killing people in Palos Verdes since the 1930s on record for going to their beach. But they get put in the city council and they become police officers. Yeah. And LA is full of white gangs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know someone who's LAPD, I'll never say his name because he told me this story. And he was like, he's a motorcycle rider. He was like, yeah, the LAPD, when they go that 101 north through Ventura up north, they got to get clearance from the Hells Angels.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they don't care if you're off-duty cop. This is their road.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to be on them bikes, and he's like, yeah, and we all know they the ones that control the whole drug game in L.A., but you don't never see no, you know what I mean? The L.A., so when you're dealing with the black gangs are a response to that type of environment.
Exactly.
And then, like, I look at my dad. Y'all go back and watch an episode of Kraig Facts with me and my dad and Kraig's dad.
Yeah.
My dad talked about that, and because my dad was in the game in the 70s, and he always talked about the drugs were over here, the gangs was over there. You know what I mean?
They didn't mix.
Yeah, they didn't mix. And he said that in the hood, he said maybe only one person had a pistol. Everybody else had chains and bats. You know what I mean? And people will fight it out. Hell, in the early 80s, people would pop lock it out. You mean, sometimes it'd be a dance battle. People, you didn't know that. Cats was dancing it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Meet in the middle of the dance floor.
Yeah, we talking 81, 82. It's not till 84, 85 that crack created at UCLA. We didn't create that. UCLA created crack. And then perfected it in the Bay Area. And then my dad used to always talk about how, like, his plug back in the day, when he was in the gang, was Tootie Reese. Okay. And you know, it was those days.
Yeah.
And he said, you know, it was the whole Tootie Reese thing. And my dad never did much. You know what I mean? He didn't do much hardly at all. He always kept a real job. You know what I mean? In the early 70s, but he saw that, you know, he backed out of it because he saw as the late 70s went into the early 80s. This new drug started coming out, and it started going to the gangsters. And it was like the gangsters never got the drugs before. And so now the gangsters are getting the drugs, and at the same time the gangsters are getting the drugs, is trains being left out on Slauson. You know that train line up and down Slauson with gun crates. You know what I mean? And the same people who last year was having pop locking contests to settle the dispute.
Got text
is now
now.
shooting it out. Yeah. You know what I mean? Where the AK-47s come from? Where the Tech
Man,
9s come from? You know what I mean? Where the bullets come from? We talking about 14-year-olds. They don't know how to, you know what I mean? And so it was engineered. And then what on top of that engineering, what happens when in that same area of LA, you know how it is, you go up and down Florence, you go up what does Manchester turn into? Firestone Boulevard.
Yeah.
Why? Because every Firestone tire in the world was made right there. Those was jobs. We go down Slauson in the city of Vernon. City of Vernon got 48 residents. That's it. Everything else is business.
Man, factory.
All that was jobs. That was jobs. So there was no need to deal drugs. Alameda, jobs all up and down the place. Then America decided, okay, let's send these jobs to China. And the thing that they don't like talking about, let's send these same jobs to prison. That's where most of those jobs went.
Real talk.
You know, not China. Them motherfuckers went for like Shelby, the Mustang, the Shelby. They make them engines in Nevada state prisons. You know what I mean? Your furniture, a lot of your tires, a lot of Whole Foods, that little expensive ass cottage cheese that they like making. That's in the Alabama State Prison Farm.
You bullshit.
Paying them about 50 cents an hour.
You talking about? So you mean to
They
tell me the
admitted
markup value on that shit just because it says Whole Foods?
About 1,000% markup. Yeah.
All that fancy cheese and yoga pants wearing bitches be buying. That shit come from prison. And they want to tell us, pull your pants up and do better. So you take all these jobs that were on the street, you put them in prison, you take in the 70s and the 60s, you can get a plumbing certificate out of high school.
Yeah.
You can become an electrician out of high school. You can get a trade that's going to make you feel like a man.
Well, let's keep it real. You can do that in the 90s.
Yeah.
You had a Scrock. Southern
If you was in that
California.
program.
Yeah. If you signed up, you can sign up to 10th grade. But they got rid of all that.
They got rid of all
fucking
that.
shit.
But back in the 70s, in the 60s, you didn't have to do a program. This was just your high school. You already in high school anyway. You know, why are we going to put you through trigonometry? You know you ain't going to college. Learn how to become an iron worker. So when you graduate high school, you a certified iron worker. So now that's how it was. You take all that away, put the jobs in prison. And then once you put the jobs in prison, you down, there's a dearth of jobs. And they can't nobody, you have all these young men with all this this vigorous energy. You change school where they got to sit down and watch a board all day. When it used to be, the way you're supposed to teach geometry is, okay, this is 3/4, this is a right angle at 120 degrees.
Yeah.
Now let's go to this piece of wood and cut a right angle. That's how you're supposed to teach geometry to boys.
You know what? It's crazy because Inglewood Unified, they had that. I took that in the junior high. Like it was, you take wood shop with geometry, metal shop, and it was all basically around circumference of it. I remember I used to have the most boringest teacher, but nigga knew that 3.14. Nigga just it programmed it.
Take all that out. Now resupply the hood with this drug, and we talking about the early 80s, mid 80s, 90s, with this drug that can pay you more in a week than your mom and daddy get paid in a year. What is the choice of 14, 15, 20-year-old gonna do? You took the jobs away. You have a new economy here, dealing drugs. Here's a whole bunch of free guns. You know, enough people are gonna do that. Everybody didn't do that, but enough did. So they created this whole situation for the gangs and the drugs, and then turn around and put RICO laws. So instead of putting one person in jail for doing something, now 10 niggas go to jail for doing something.
Just to see, man, you know what I'm saying, who gonna cop out and just keep knocking each other back down.
I used to be that nigga that would judge motherfuckers because I'm born and raised in the hood, but I was never street.
Yeah.
I used to be that nigga that would judge motherfuckers till I took a look in the mirror. You know what I mean? It's all like, you know, I was able to, like, I had a dad that lived that, so he could teach me the
values. When it come down to it, it's some certain small values.
It's that
most people wouldn't even take into account, but that a father can give, that an uncle can give.
Yeah,
that a role model, godfather. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, you know, like my mom was a substance abuser and shit, but, you know, I had uncles. You know, I had godfathers and everything like that. You know, I went to, man, you know, they took me to church. So I found my foundation in that. I seen at that time, a lot of males in church that was worshiping God. A lot of deacons. Man, you know, they was deacons, they was brother, they did the barbecues, everything. They played in the basketball league. So, you know, I'm seeing that masculine of what a man's supposed to do, take care of his family, go to whatever, if you go to church, if you go to the mosque, so whatever your faith and belief system is. Now.
But what happened with RICO laws?
Come on, fam.
All them same men, where'd they go?
Then they went to the pen.
It happened right in front of our eyes.
We watched them.
We saw it happen. And then so when you look at that, it's like, damn, all the criminality makes sense to me. I'm not here to rationalize it. You know what I mean? But I'm here to say to my brothers that's struggling with it, I understand.
Well, peep it out too. Take the 92 blacks, 92, 93, and put them in the Black Lives Matter movement. What we got?
Something way different.
We ain't got no goddamn Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Niggas, cops would have been getting shit left and right.
It wasn't no, please help me. No. We'll handle it.
On mamas.
We got it.
On mamas. See, but people forget about that. You know what I call it? It's a programming. Because every time you watch Cops, they never show you the motherfucker that got away. They always show you every episode, everyone, a motherfucker gets caught. Or he's doing something he had no business doing. And then it's his program. And then so when people just see, man, over the course of years, and as soon as they hear the song, they, okay, go back to the cop or get pulled over. Hey, bad boys, bad boys. And then you just see them just either rather just snitching or whatever. I'll be like, man, that shit programmed in these motherfuckers.
Here's another program. Let's go a little bit deeper on here, talking about how programming works. Because I was talking about this in my live the other day. I get deep like this in my live. If y'all check me out on Dwann B on YouTube.
Man, for real.
You know, I like looking at things from multiple angles. And like I was talking about when it comes to the programming, how does a magic trick work? When you want to deceive people as a magician, what's the first thing you do? The first thing a magician does before he does his trick.
Shows you. Optical illusion, but it shows you at first.
Direction makes you look somewhere else.
That's later.
Okay.
The first thing he does is he tells you exactly what it's going to do. I'm going to make this rabbit disappear. I got to tell you that for the trick to work. Now, once I tell you that, now comes the illusions. Now comes the trickery to get you looking over here while I do something else over here. But in order for me to get you looking over here, I have to first tell you what I'm going to do. And how America works is, it tells you through what it's going to do through its media, through its propaganda, through the movies, through the TV shows. You know, Trading Places showed us how the wealthy manipulates us and play games with us, white and black. The movie Trading Places, you know, to get the movie Distinguished Gentleman told you how Congress worked. You go back and look at House of Cards. That shows you before Trump got in office what a Trump presidency was going to be, the corruption behind the Trump presidency. They told you exactly what it was on House of Cards. On that show Veep on HBO. They showed you what a Kamala Harris is. Well, they showed you Kamala Harris coming, kind of like a shit show, and it is a shit show.
That's the Tina Fey joint.
Yeah, the Tina Fey movie.
Yeah,
they are do all these movies, do these Eternals, all these Marvel comics. They tell you everything that's coming. You know what I mean? And they also set your mindset to accept certain things. So I said all that to say, what was this? In the 70s, cops were always hated. It wasn't until not Columbo. It was that was it
Hill
Dragnet?
Street Blues?
No, Dragnet. I think it was
Dragnet. Just the facts, man. Just the facts.
Yeah, before Dragnet. Oh, it was one of the early ones. The cops were hated in America.
Yeah.
Dragnet was a show that was created to normalize police officers. So in the 60s and the 70s, then you had your Dirty Harry movies, you had your Columbo, you had more of the serious cop. So, because like if you look at Survey America before the 60s, by white people, cops were hated. So in the 70s, they started making cops look legitimate. You know what I mean?
Like heroes and shit.
Heroes, and you Dirty Harry, and they come into, they made
Bronson and
they made these movies where you had all these scary Negroes, and it was the white man with the 38, with the
357,
and he's regulating. Because this is right after the civil rights movement of the 60s, when black people had gotten a little bit too out of control for America's liking. So they started to normalize cops in the 70s. When you get to the 80s, what do you get? The buddy cop genre, the silly cop, Police Academy, Naked Gun, Airplane. I mean, you get these movies where now cops are these lovable characters.
Characters.
It was 5 police academies in one decade.
Yeah, man.
Beverly Hills Cop. All of these cops, now the cop he goes from being serious to lovable. So now you really, at the same time the cop becomes lovable image-wise.
Lethal Weapon.
The Kraig, Lethal Weapon, Die Hard. He's either that or he's like an ultra tough, save the world. So you had no choice but to love cops if you grew up watching 80s propaganda. Miami Vice. You know what I mean? What was the other one? Hunter.
Hunter.
Even Rush Hour, you could
Rush
look at
Hour.
like that. Same way,
That's
yeah.
all to get your mind in favor of police officers. While at the 80s, during the same time, the LAPD got the crash unit, knocking niggas' walls down. That didn't even do what they did.
Battle ram. Yeah, the motherfuckers could ride it through in a big ass tank in the street. Boom, hitting houses and ripping half the house off.
So it's like the more
Battle
dirty the
ram.
cops got, the better the propaganda about the cops got on TV through our movies. Rush Hour. We're falling in love with cops on
Blue
TV.
Streak and all
Yeah,
that.
Hill Street Blues and all. So that's how propaganda works. They're telling you what they're going to do but you gotta, when you watch a movie, it's good to be entertained, but you really gotta watch it with this here. You gotta watch that shit with your third eye and ask yourself, what are they telling me? Because every movie, every TV show, every commercial, every song is giving you a message. And then most times it's multiple messages within that one thing. You got to sit back and look and ask, what are they trying to tell me? The movie Inception, it told you that we put shit in your mind at a really young age, and for the rest of your life, you're going to be living that way and don't even know why. They told you in Inception, that's what they do. The Matrix told you how to free yourself from this, what we call it. The Matrix, if you really look at the Matrix, especially Matrix 1 and 2, when you look at them really closely, it's telling you, Neo, everyone watching, all of us, me, you, whatever we're great at, we're Neo at that. But we're only Neo if we believe. And who is Agent Smith? Agent Smith is what we call haters. Agent Smith is, you got this thing in your mind you want to do. Agent Smith is in people that tell you can't do it.
Well, at the same time, the movie's written by a black woman, so what do you expect?
Sophia Stewart.
What do you expect?
Sophia Stewart.
It makes fucking
Black
sense.
woman, yeah.
Mamas.
She wrote The Matrix?
And she wrote The Matrix and Terminator.
Did she get credit for it?
Just now.
She got, she got, but they don't want to get the Wachowski brothers turned to the Wachowski sisters, so she can't sue them for the money. That went over people's head. They're not brothers no more. They're people. So the money.
That's crazy to think
She got
about.
credit now, but she ain't got the money. But so when you watch The Matrix is telling us, man, this shit's all an illusion. But the thing that keeps the illusion going is everybody's buying into it. You see what goes on politically. But the people who say, hey, vote blue no matter who, the Al Sharptons, your neighbor, they're telling you in The Matrix, the bum anyone from the bum in the subway to your best friend is, when you start talking your own independent shit, you want to do your own thing, you start seeing everyone around you start to attack
you.
That's what The Matrix was they were trying to illustrate to us in the movie. Everyone is Agent Smith that don't believe that they're the one, and they stop you from being the one. So, but in the movie, it told you how to get out of that illusion too, by knowing you are that one, and when you know you that, and when you know you the shit, you can manipulate the world around you.
Man.
They tell us all this shit.
Man, if y'all not, running with us on this one and shit like that, man, go like, comment, and subscribe. We're going to take a small little break and everything, man, you know what I'm saying, to get you going. Man, hey, Dwann, man, I'm going to hit you with the second part, man, so you know what I mean?
Let's do it.
But, man, if you don't watch this, man, and check it out, if you don't know how intelligent this brother is, and if you haven't checked it out, man, I'm telling you, man, Hotepish, man, go check it out, man, YouTube, man, for real. You feel me? Man, Apple, Spotify, and everything else, huh?
Apple, Spotify, in my Incense and Ashtrays. That's on Apple.
Incense and Ashtrays as well, man. That's the music, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I told him before off camera, man, he like Rain Man when it come to motherfucking music and shit. So yeah, man, we gonna take this small break, man. All right.